Hi, it's Dorothy guiding with Scrapbooking Quebec. Today I'm here for the Scrapbook Nerd online shop, and I'll be creating a 12 by 12 layout featuring Carta Welcome Fall collection. This video is part 2 in a 3-part series, one sketch, 3 ways. Here's a sketch I'll be using. It's a Malena Woody Whisk sketch. It is so simple but has so much potential, and as you can see in this video, I plan to flip it 90 degrees. Here is a page I created using the very same sketch a few weeks ago, and there is a layout process video for this page, so I will list it and link it below as well. As for the sketch, you can find Malena's work on the Scrapbook Nerd Friends Group Facebook page, as well as on Instagram, and I will put links below so you can find all of that. Here is the material I'll be using. It's mostly from Carta Welcome Fall collection. I'll also be using dies from Elizabeth Craft Designs, and these products came from the Scrapbook Nerd online shop, so I will put links to the shop along with the products I use in the description box below. So let's jump right in and see what's on my desk. And obviously I have the sketch, and again, I plan to flip it on its side, and that will pop up in the screen a little bit later on. I do have 4 small square photos, and 3 of them I did matte. One of them I will work on a little bit later on. That's the cover sheet to this Welcome Fall collection. So I have some bits and pieces of it. I also brought in some wood grain paper from Simple Stories. That green paper is from my stash. I have the stickers from this collection and a bunch of scraps handy. I'm just showing you where that wood grain paper came from. It's a collection called Woods from Simple Stories. In this tray, I have a bunch of embellishments. So those are wood grain foam alphas from Simple Stories. The other stuff is all from the Carta Welcome Fall collection. Those fussy cut flowers were one of the papers that is in this collection, and I cut it up quite a while ago. So I'll be using that today as well. That's the die set from Elizabeth Craft Designs that I will be using. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut up a bunch of papers to set up my foundation page. And you can see the sketch is in the top left-hand corner. My plan is to cover up most of a 12 by 12 piece of white cardstock. So basically, when you look at the sketch, you can see the white parts on the sketch. The only white part that will be showing on my layout is the white part on the far left. The rest will be all covered up with strips of pattern paper, and I will put measurements for everything I'm doing on the screen a little bit later on. What I'm doing right now is applying a bit of ink, and the ink I'm using is Morning Mist by Versifying Claire, and I'm not going to make you watch all of it, but I do ink up all of these strips of paper, and now you can see they are all inked up. So I'm just giving you an idea how I'm going with this. So what I'm doing right now is adhering that plaid paper to the far right of my layout. Now what I'm going to do is adhere 2 narrow strips of paper behind this wood grain paper, and that's basically going to be a strip where I later adhere my photos. Now for the time being, I'm going to keep this strip separate from the foundation page because I am going to be layering up embellishments underneath it a little bit later on. So that's why I'm leaving it separate right now. This is almost done here. I'm just fussing a little bit with the measurements there to make sure everything is straight. And there you go. What I will do is kind of give you an idea how it's going to look with my photos right now. So again, 3 of them I did matte already in some green paper, and one of them I am going to reserve as a focal point photo, so I'm going to want to treat that photo differently. What I'm going to do is create a frame for it. So for the other 3 photos, I created mats that were adhered from behind the photo. What I'm going to do right now is use nesting square dies. Mine are from Stampin' Up! And I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine with this green paper, and I'm basically putting one square inside the other. And what's going to come out is a nice frame. I did this a few weeks ago on YouTube as well using rectangle dies. You can do it with any shaped nesting dies. You can do it with hearts, circles, rectangles, squares, whatever you want. But if you have nesting dies, you can make really nice frames. You can see I was careful to position one square inside the other. Now I'm running it through my die cutting machine. I use some low tack tape to keep them together, to keep them from shifting around. And you'll see out pops this really nice frame. So what I will be doing is placing it on top of my photo as opposed to the mats that are behind the photo for the other 3 photos. Now what I'm going to do is show you my embellishment tray here. So again, I have those alphas there from Simple Stories, and I did put my title on wax paper in advance. It's going to be Chez Vic, which is short for Chez Victor, which is a hamburger restaurant in my neighborhood. I'm showing you that I have a bunch of planner pages. I did this a while back with some of that wood grain paper. The flip side is graph paper. I use it all the time. So that's going to be my journaling box. And I use that die set that I showed you earlier. Actually, I'm showing it to you again. And I also have other embellishments in that tray there. But before I start embellishing, what I want to do is cut up a bunch of leaves. So it's the very same die set, and I will list it and link it below if it's still available. I have many Elizabeth Craft Design die sets, and this was my very first one I ever bought. And to this day, it is the one I still reach for the most often. So I had already cut out a planner page with it, and now what I'm going to do is cut out a bunch of these leaves. And I continue doing this off camera. These ones are fairly detailed. It cuts well, but I am poking it out with a little poker stick there. And I'm not going to make you watch all of this, but in a moment you're going to see I have a bunch of these leaves. So there you see it as well. I did adhere the frame on top of my photo, and I put some foam adhesive behind it as well, because in addition to treating my photo with a frame, which is different than the other photos, I plan to pop it up on foam adhesive. So you can see where my journaling box and title are going to go, more or less following the sketch. I'm showing you all of the leaves that I cut out with that Elizabeth Craft Design die set. And I kind of divided up the flowers by size and color. I have some cut apart sheets there, a bit of chipboard. Anyway, all of my embellishing is around me, including the stickers from the collection pack. So what I'm going to do right now is adhere 3 of the 4 photos. I'm still going to keep the focal point photo separate along with that photo strip as well, because I'm going to want to have some of that embellishing coming out from behind the focal point photo, but also from behind that strip of paper with the photos on it. That's why I'm still leaving it separate for the time being. So right now I'm just adhering 3 of the 4 photos, and I'm almost done here. And then what I'll do is start playing with my embellishing. So really what I love about this sketch that I selected is that border that you see right now on the right. I think that has so much potential. So I'm going to start by placing these bunches of leaves. So I'm just kind of lining them up and down the page, and I find leaf dies a fabulous way for beefing up embellishment clusters. Now I'm coming in with those fussy cut florals, which were from one of the papers in this collection. It was absolutely gorgeous. I wish I had it here to show you, but all I have left from that paper are these fussy cut flowers that I used for a previous project. So I'm starting with the bigger flowers there. I even snipped one of those gold ones in half because I'm trying to preserve some of them so I can create another cluster a little bit later on towards the journaling box. Then once I place the leaves, the bigger flowers, then I'm coming in with the smaller flowers. I started with those peachy ones, and then I'm coming in with a darker orange one. Basically, I'm kind of filling in the spots here, and I really love how this looks, which is really why I love this sketch. I find it's just a fun sketch to work with. Anyway, now what I'm going to do is actually start adhering. And I'm doing something right now that's basically useless. Four of the flowers were kind of overlapping the border, so I tossed those to the side, marked an X, and I thought somehow that I could actually adhere all of these pieces down exactly as I had placed them, but I quickly realized that was impossible. So I'm basically using the very same technique. I'm coming in, adhering the leaves to the page. And by the way, that adhesive I'm using is called Sticky Specs by Ecstasy Crafts. It's great for adhering really detailed pieces. You place the detailed piece on top of a yellow sticky paper and it picks up the adhesive. Anyway, it will be listed and linked below if it's still available at the Scrapbook Nerd. Then once the leaves were down, I came in and I adhered that photo border. And now I'm coming in and adhering the flowers using the very same technique that I did when I was placing them, which is simply to start with the bigger flowers, then come in with the smaller flowers. You're going to notice as well, for some of them, I pop up the flowers with foam adhesive. And once I get all of this down, this is going to be a huge part of my embellishing on my page. I do come in with some finishing touches for this. Basically, when I get the bulk of it adhered, then I come in and I add extra leaves or maybe a few smaller flowers. I'm basically looking for any major holes in this border, and that's what you see me doing right now. I'm even tucking in a few little pumpkins there. So I'm almost done here. Once that's done, what I am going to do is work on the journaling box title and my focal point photo, and that's where another bit of embellishing is. And I am really following the sketch almost to a T. My photos are a little bit bigger than what you see on the sketch, but basically I am following this sketch. I'm only replacing the circles with flowers and leaves. So I'm just fussing there, adding a few little leaves and extra flowers, little bits and pieces within that border. Now it's time to work on the rest of the page. So for that journaling box, I'm going to want to tuck it between that wood grain paper and that rust colored narrow strip. My title is going to go along the side, just like you see on the sketch. And what I would like to do is have some of the embellishing coming out from that focal point photo. I play around a bit with those cut apart sheets, but I don't end up using them. I'm really loving those florals and leaves, so I'm just going to keep that. In the very end, I do come in with a few other stickers and stuff like that, but I'm really loving those flowers as well as those leaves. So right now I'm just trying to play around with the flowers to see what will please me for this other embellishment cluster there just at the bottom of that title there. So I end up coming in with a few half flowers, tucking them behind the photo there, and I put another one overlapping on the top, and you can see I have some leaves coming out from the side to the right of the photo. I dig into the sticker sheet, but at this point I decide I'm not even going to go there. What I am going to do is adhere my journaling box, my title, my floral cluster along with the focal point photo, and then what I will do is come in and add a few finishing touches. So you can see I adhered those leaves once again using that Sticky Specs adhesive. Now I'm placing my focal point photo on top, and again that one is popped up with a little bit of foam adhesive. I'm coming in with a few of those little flower pieces there. I do want to tuck in that peach colored one, but I'm having trouble finding a spot. I'm also finding that a lot of my leaves get covered up, and this is the name of the game when you are creating layered embellishment clusters. Things do get covered up. It was the very same thing for that border over there on the left. So you can see I started adhering my title, I stopped the film, continued doing that. Now I'm just coming in looking for some finishing touches. I find this sticker, it says fall is my favorite, but what I really want there is my favorite because Chez Victor is one of my favorite local restaurants. So I ended up cutting off fall is, and I wrote my favorite, or I kept, I should say, my favorite, but I'm playing around with placement. I also have another sticker there that says welcome because I find this restaurant particularly welcoming. Anyway, at one point I decide to simply turn off the film and continue doing it. And that's exactly what I did. But basically, off camera, all I did was my journaling and I added a few stickers. So the my favorite sticker ended up at the bottom of the journaling box, and I added another one there as well that says fun fall activity. I also added that welcome sticker just at the top of that row of photos, and I stamped good food in the tab on that planner page. But that is it. Here are the two pages I created side by side using the very same sketch, but with different material, different size photos, a different sketch orientation. There are so many ways to change a sketch. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the Scrapbook Nerd YouTube channel, we would be thrilled if you did. The same thing for my channel, Scrapbooking Quebec. Make sure you check out the Scrapbook Nerd online shop for these fun supplies and lots more. Stay tuned. I will be revisiting this sketch one more time on YouTube. Take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.